All right. Get my refresh. Find me. Hit the follow button. Live button. Follow button. Live button. All right, we are ready to go. And we start to what's my little point here. Are we ready for citizen input? Good evening, good evening. I have no idea, Miss Cynthia, how I am supposed to be able to bring people up. But if you are able to request, I'll take a look at it and see if I can hit the invite button if it pops up. Definitely, if you're able to type that you can hear me, I'd really appreciate it. And I just want to make sure that I know how to navigate everything just in case we want to bring somebody up. Because I do not see on my second computer the invite button. So I think I might have to let people just communicate via the text as they come in. But I do appreciate you giving me your time. And I'm very prompt and on time. So one of the things that I did want to discuss is, as my title says, are we ready for input as Floridian citizens? Are we ready to actually be in control of how our government functions and have a larger role in the day-to-day legislative activities that go about? So that is the goal. And one of the, thank you all for coming in. One of the major things that I do want to discuss is actually my platform and why I'm running for office. Because it's super important to really understand why I'm running for office. It is to get citizens. It is to get citizens to be a part of the legislative process. So where we are right now is I wanted to ensure that citizens are prepared, understand what I'm asking you to do when we win the election. Where I want to be sure that you know that, hey, if we do this, your elected officials are going to have to, they're going to have to speak to you. They're going to have to ask your approval. They're going to make sure that the things that we pay for as taxpayers are actually what we all align with. And it's super important that you understand that. Sometimes I get a couple of questions and they'll ask me my personal feelings on a conversation, and I wanted to clear the air on some of those things. I wanted to make sure that you understood that no matter where we go in the future, no matter what we do in the future, citizens become a focal point, and we're not necessarily only paying attention to one individual. We're not just blaming this one person for why something isn't happening in our county. Now citizens actually get an opportunity to better weigh in on the measures that happen and what's going on. But again, the most important piece of that is to make sure that citizens understand the responsibility that is being asked of you. Something that we don't see too often. So it's very important to make sure that my baseline, my understanding, my campaign is locked in, and you do know what you are being asked. to vote for. I am definitely watching my other screen right now, just in case anybody wants to type. If you would like to come up and speak, by all means, hit the invite button. I do not know if I have not used that as of yet, but I do thank every single person for at least coming out. And if you don't see the invite button, please just make whatever comment you need to make. I will respond quickly, promptly, and as properly as possible. But again, for everybody that just walked in or just came in, one of my goals is to ensure that we citizens understand that what I'm asking of you, when I'm asking to represent the state of Florida, I'm asking to represent the state of Florida on the campaign baseline that citizens decide if indeed what I would like to do or what our representatives found out is something that citizens want to do. So it's very important to understand that little piece of information. I am definitely hitting the invite button. Don't know how many people I can bring up, but as you send those invites, I'm going to bring those up. One of the individuals that is running right now, you guys can see it's Mr. Bernard Taylor. I believe he's running for the 21st district. Something important about everybody that's running is I wanted to have a platform where when an individual tells you that they're going to run for your district, that you have a meaningful manner in which you can support them. Right now, if you vote that person in, right after you vote them in, you don't have another means of being able to support. So it's really important to me that you understand that what we're trying to do is build a means so that we don't send one person into our House of Representatives and they not have the backing of the 7 or of the other 120, and we not be able to do something about that. So that's got to be something that's super important. That's got to be something that we need to consider. Right now, when we vote, the things that we vote on, the things that we do, we're only able to currently protest. We're only able to currently go, just protest, call up your representative, send an email. I want us to be able to do a lot more than that when our district representatives come out and say, hey, I want to represent you. Then I want to make sure that not only do they want to represent you, that they answer to you. It's very important that our representatives answer to our citizens. One of the main things that I did want to know is if anybody is in disagreement with having your representative have to answer to its citizens. And if you are in disagreement, these are the times that I want to understand why. So when I do go out and I have my town halls, I can bring that understanding, I can bring that understanding to why maybe we're not seeing the things that we need to see. I don't want citizens to complain anymore and not see those complaints turn into a legislative measure that's actually going to do something about what's going on. So by all means, like I said, I'm watching, I'm looking. Are we actually ready for citizen input? And if we are, understanding that with that input will come your ability to vote on legislation. And we're going to we're going to change the way we do things. I think in one of my earlier videos, I told you that 55.9% of citizens voted for Amendment 3, which was the marijuana amendment. And prior to that, before TikTok took down all of the titles on your videos, I personally did not agree with Amendment 3. But I believe if 51% of you citizens wanted Amendment 3 to be passed, then it's our job then to come up with the best way to get that bill passed that you also agree with. One of the major reasons that I did not agree, first and foremost, is literally because I didn't want to put any type of drug on the street that could be synthesized. If it just grew out the ground, it'd be one thing. But there was a lot of back end jargon in the actual bill that allowed for corporations to get a hand in this. And I felt like when corporations get a hand in things, that it's not good for the citizens. So it was really important for me to point that out, that even though 55% of citizens decided to vote for this, that it did not happen because of the nuance of our 60% rule. So when we create a rule that stops democracy from happening, we need to do something about it. I want to tell everybody who's hitting that invite, who's asking to come up, I'm hitting the invite button. It's not necessarily bringing anybody else up. So I definitely do not know why. So until that does fix itself, oh, there we go. Somebody else was able to come up now. Hello,
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I
Absolutely.
have my name is Anthony, and my vote was for Vice President Kamala Harris. And I just wanted to let Bernard know I saw him a few minutes ago, and he was in Fort Pierce, and that was good that he was in Fort Pierce. But had he went on Avenue D in Fort Pierce, would have been where a lot of the support for him would have been. Because I think that his district is from Fort Pierce on back to Palm Beach County.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a sir.
Yes, we're going to be tomorrow. My community block walk. We'll be down at by Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, and we're walking Avenue D all the way up to Avenue O. So today,
Okay, good. And
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
today
I
we
I
just
I, I
going
will
to that
push it
event.
because I have a lot of family in that Fort Pierce area, and I just saw that area where you was, in my opinion, really wasn't
Oh no,
supportive
that's
of
yeah,
you.
yeah. No, that's an event that they have up here by the marina. That ain't nowhere near where we live at in Fort Pierce. So I was just out there. They have it once every Friday. They have it once a month on the first Friday, so I tend to go out there again, just try to engage with whoever will engage with me, because again, it's gonna take every vote that we can get. So yeah, I went out there tonight, and then tomorrow we'll be 3 hours canvassing the community, giving out our cards, talking to as many people as possible, and then they have the football games for the kids on Saturday, so that's gonna be a big opportunity to walk around the parks and talk with people in between the games and things like that. So we definitely got a plan to attack this area, because I can't win this election without my people here in the city of Fort Pierce and down in East Stewart and parts of Port St. Lucie. So I trust me, I know what my support is. I got to get out there and get them motivated and get them encouraged to get out here and vote, and then I got to pick off votes where I can.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just a little bit farther since I'm in the Vero Beach area.
Yeah, that's where my family's from. I went to Sebastian River High School, so you might know my family.
Oh, okay. But I'm originally from Tampa, but all my
Okay,
family lives in Fort Pierce. So I'm gonna be on the phone tonight, and I'm gonna be calling them and letting them know that you're gonna be down there tomorrow and that they need to come out and support you. We have
thank you. I
got to
appreciate it.
unseat Brian Mass. He's got to go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, 100%. I appreciate that very much, and thank you for your support.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely I appreciate you coming up. But I definitely need to get back to the task at hand with the audience that I have.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for letting me come up and share with you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Alice, you absolutely can invite. You can invite any. I want to say you can invite any candidate to any of your town halls. Absolutely. I don't see why they would say no. Hopefully they do not say no. But yes, by all
Absolutely,
means,
I'm more than I'm more than willing to come on, Dr. Alice. So just send me the invite.
But again, one of these the reason for this live this evening is like my title says, are we as citizens ready to take the role of having citizen input? it's very important that we decide that for ourselves and that we see how this is going to work and if it's going to work. The platform right now is to ensure that no matter who comes up, that you have a means, that we have a means of supporting those individuals that would like to represent your district. What did I file? Miss Marla, you said did I file?
She's asking, did you file with the FEC yet to be in the candidate to run?
Yes, yes. My paperwork was in November 2023. Yes. I am definitely hitting these invites. I don't know if you guys are accepting them. Thank you very much, Dr. Alice. I'm pretty sure everyone will get those. Like I said, I don't think any candidate should be turning down a town hall invite because it's very good to get out there and be able to answer questions and be able to talk to individuals. So one of those things, again, that we would like to do is ensure that you understand, if you are looking to support me, the role and the position that I'm asking you, the citizen, to be in, which is to empower you as the citizen to have more authority over your elected officials. Simply Jamal, I've been hitting the invite. I don't know what you see on your end after you receive the invite request, but I just wanted to let you know I'm not ignoring it. It says invite sent on the screen, so I don't know if it's queuing you up or something to that nature. But as soon as you get let in or something to that necessary, it would be nice to, or you can just send a message inside the message screen while I'm looking and maybe be able to let me know what you see on your end. No,
Be ready for citizens input. How do you go?
I agree
How
wholeheartedly.
about this? How are we going about this? How are we going about making this like legislatively? Like, what's the steps that you had in mind?
Well, the number one thing that needs to happen is right now, the only legislative power that the citizen has is under Article 1 of our Constitution, which simply says that all political power is inherent to the people. What I'm going to have to do is convene a constitutional convention that will articulate how those powers are now utilized. We've never had in our Constitution, Florida's Constitution, a means of breaking down how citizens are supposed to be able to use their political power. So up until now, the only means of using that power have been to vote for an individual, let that individual come in and represent you as they see fit. As we also know, we don't have any statutes, policies, or rules in place that remove the elected official from independently voting aside from their constituents. So there is no means for that. So in order to maintain that level of democracy, because we don't want to break the system, we want to maintain that level of democracy, but we also want to ensure that if you make a legislative proposal, that you do have the backing of your constituents at minimum to bring that legislation to the table. If you can't get the backing of your constituents, then you need to get out there and make sure that they understand what's going on and why you need that to happen. My goal is to never again have to wake up and hear something like, hey, we've decided to remove vaccine mandates, and we didn't ask any of our our estimated 23 million citizens in Florida. I think we need to ask these questions. We need to know beforehand and we're not even reactionary, because there's nothing that a citizen can do now except for start a grassroots movement for the next election cycle to get some ballot measure put on the ballot. We need to have a lot more legislative control than that. And that needs to be way before we see that the actual legislation is going to be put in place. Citizens need to
So
be
how
on the forefront of that conversation.
so how so how do you propose we take control away from the supermajority and the majorities here in this state that are obviously not going to give up the type of power that you're talking about?
Well, right now, the reason that I've chosen to run for the governor's seat is because the governor's seat comes with certain powers that are afforded to the governor. So if I were to come out and be able, if I were to come out and be able to push hey, I'm going to mandate that I'm going to do an executive order that says that from here on out, my House of Representatives are going to need to ask your citizens prior to bringing legislation up. What this should do is this will create a whirlwind of absolutely nots. And when we see that, they're going to want to fight that. They're going to want to fight that in court. So we need to make sure that, hey, that if we really have a body of elected representatives that do not want to work for their citizens, we need to see that go through the court system. It's very important. So I need to first off drop the executive order that you will do this portion. Then I need to change some of the rules inside the House of Representatives. I need to have those elected officials vote on a very specific rule that I want to, which is when you filled out your documentation to become an elected official, I needed to say that you are governed to not misinform, put out disinformation, or flat out be able to lie to your citizens. Right now, we have nothing in place to stop any candidate or elected official from being able to put out misinformation, disinformation, or just flat out lie. It's completely legal right now. So that's something that I need to look at changing almost immediately. And then I need to feel and start to see the pushback. Then what we'll do from there, because our legal team is taxpayer funded, we'll have our legal team fight for the same people who pay for them, fight for our citizens. Get in there, make these arguments to our court system, to our judicial system, and ensure that we get those rights that citizens need to make sure that citizens start to have more control over elected officials. We're not trying to remove elected officials from your seats at all. I do believe that everywhere needs it because we have 23 million citizens in this state and 120 districts. So we definitely need those teams of people to let us know what's going on in those districts, navigate that information, bring that back to the citizens so that the citizens understand the who, what, when, where, why, and how this piece of legislation is about to be passed, how it's going to affect you, when it's going to affect you, where the money's going to come from. All of these things help us regain trust from our citizens overall, as well as create that transparency that's necessary. Dr. Alice, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Just want to make sure you're welcome to chime in.
So I just wanted to come up because I was just listening to Bernard, and I think you guys have an incredible message. I've actually been stalking your TikTok page. I wanted to tell you about something that we are trying to grow. We have this amazing group that is our.vote.counts. We are actually holding town halls for all representatives, those that are running for governor, those that are running for Congress, or running for the Senate. So we are holding town halls twice a week. Usually it's Tuesdays or Thursdays, or whatever day you are available. We are bringing people in and teaching them about the importance of voting. I think one of the things that we do struggle, especially as Democrats, is that we don't have more people voting. We don't have more people just don't get out. I live in the city of Houston, and majority of registered voters do not get out to vote. So I will send you guys information about our page. We are growing. We've already got about, I think, 6 or 7 representatives and a couple of senators that are actually running for the new, for the midterms. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. I was trying to talk to Bernard in the other live, but he ended the live real quick. And so I saw him, I was in here and I was like, oh, and then I stalked your page a little bit and found out kind of what you stand for. So I found it interesting. Again, our.vote.counts. Please take a look at us. I think what we are trying to do is unlike anybody else on TikTok, that people don't know how to vote. People don't know where to vote. People have no idea how important voting is. They don't know who their representatives are. They don't know who their senators are. They don't even know who their governors or their mayors are. And so if we want to make more changes, I think it is important for us to vote. So that's all I had for you guys. Thank you for letting me up here for a minute. I really appreciate it, guys, and I wish the best for you both.
Thank you very much. And let me answer Miss Salas Golden. Yes, I am running for governor of Florida. That is correct. And you know, just to ping what you're saying, Dr. Alice, one of the things that I realized needed to happen simultaneously was create access as well as give the authority to the citizen. That way that now you're going to have a means of using the authority that you have, and hopefully we're able to then give us that herd immunity or that herd education to bring more individuals into understanding how this works. One of the ways I'm going to do that too, and I do give this in my briefing when I do my town halls in person. It will cost, but you know, having an IT background, I do understand that I'm able to break down how a community functions. So now when, let's just say, Mr. Bernard puts in legislation, it will go out to the citizen to say, hey, District 21 just had this piece of legislation that's come up. Here are the individuals that represent District 21, as well as the citizens, and here is what we would call the bottom line up front, which gives you the who, what, when, where, why, and how, while maintaining the structure and verbiage of the bill, but making sure that the average citizen at least gets a snapshot of what they're doing, while hopefully, and then that create a conversation amongst them as they decide to vote on these things. We do know that there are plenty of people out here trying to educate at the same time trying to create change. So one of the ways that we're looking at doing that, or the ways that I would like to do that is, and that'll be one of the first things I ask for taxpayers after getting office. Hey, I'm going to create a IT environment that puts the vote in the information at your fingertips. And it's going to cost us, over the course of 8 years, it's going to cost about 123 million over 8 years. And that's my initial estimate.
Okay.
Trying to make sure that I create the access while bringing the education at the exact same time. That's my method for coming about and attacking those things. So now when a citizen sees, hey, I'm in District 21, they will relate that to whoever the representative of District 21 is at that time, giving them a better understanding and creating that conversation that uses more names instead of just saying, you know, like our current governor, well, Ron DeSantis did this and Ron DeSantis did that. Well, who's your district representative that ultimately voted for you?
Yes.
Because these
And it
bills
starts locally.
That's
Starts
correct.
locally. If you don't get involved locally, then you're not going to see a change, because what you see next door or what you see across the street is where change starts. Sometimes federally, it's not going to work for everybody, but if you are getting involved locally, then it does make a difference. And one of the reasons why we started this, I want to call it a movement. It's not quite yet there, a movement, but one of the reasons is because technology is important. And a lot of our representatives, a lot of our senators are not getting involved in places like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. They're kind of sticking to the old fashioned. And I think that one of the great ways to attract us younger folks is to include technology. So I do like that you have the IT part of it, because I think that is very important. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you guys for having me up here, though. I will definitely follow you. Please make sure to follow me. You have a great message. I do commend you for that. Bernard, too. You guys have a very interesting message. I will look more into stalking your pages, though. Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming up.
Thank you. So,
Now,
so to go back to the subject that you were speaking of, Ronnie. So I got your initial plan. My only thing that I'm thinking about is, again, you have to get a majority of legislators on your side, and
that is
then on top of that, you have to get a court that's going to be on your side. And I'm
well.
trying to figure how do we do that? And
So,
and we live in Florida, the home of the
so
supermajority and the Republican Supreme Court.
I'm glad you asked. One of the things that is super important to me is I think that citizens having legislative authority is completely bipartisan. It's not Republican, it's not Democrat on its face. So I do understand. What I need citizens to also see at the same time is, do we have a government that is not working for the citizens? That's that's all going to happen at the same time. Like what you're pointing out is correct. Are we going to see so many people say, or these bodies that governors say, no, we don't want to let you be in charge of us. We only want you to vote for us and give us your tax money. Right now, I haven't seen or heard any legislative body come out and tell its citizens, we do not want you to be a part of this. We do not want you to decide whether or not we can do this. We have to create this atmosphere at the same time as we're trying to fix the atmosphere. There is no way around that. There is no strategy that's going to be done. The best that I could come up with, and I'm being completely transparent, when I thought about running for office, was run for the seat that is supposed to have the power to make these changes. We all know that two-thirds of the House of Representatives can veto any bill or any executive order that the governor wants to do. If we see that veto happen, then our citizens at minimum will know, because it's going to be my job to put out that, hey, I put this legislation out here. We're going to fight it through the courts, but these are the individuals that you elected, that you did not ask the simple question, how are you going to ensure that I can say no to you? How does a citizen elect anybody going forward and not ask the question, how can I stop you if you go outside of the lines that I don't agree with? I think that question should have been asked decades ago. But what we're seeing today, we're seeing that it wasn't asked, because citizens as a whole, as a collective, do not have the means to remove or stop legislation. If you're not doing anything illegal, I'm not going to remove you from your position. If you're just making a decision because you have a perspective, then we need to be able to say that, hey, we don't agree with your perspective, so we should be able to do something about it. So right now, the only thing I can do is ask citizens to understand my platform, understand the campaign that I'm running, and give me the opportunity to bring to light what needs to happen. I don't want any citizen to consider that anybody that you elect is going to snap their fingers and change everything that happens and make it good for everybody. But I do want to ensure that you do understand that voting for me is saying that you want to have control over your elected officials, and that's what we're going to battle for. How you doing today, Miss Ayana?
Hi, how are you? My name is Ayana, and I am in Ohio. Actually, I'm not in Florida, but we have tried in Ohio some citizen input type initiatives, and some have been successful and some have been failures because they do not receive legislative support.
Understand.
Um, I live in Cuyahoga County. I live just right next door to the city of Cleveland, and we've had a series of police involved unalivings. One very famous one, Tamir Rice, and after that, the state and the federal government decided that they were going to reform how police chase people, how they intervene in domestic calls, and how they handle people who have weapons, et cetera, et cetera. They were going to reform the police procedures. So in Cuyahoga County, they came up with this citizens police panel council, and it would be a group of citizens from Cuyahoga County who would oversee the city of Cleveland police and take complaints from the public about the police, and I guess investigate and do reports and et cetera, and come up with ideas and try to help them reform their police procedures. And it has been a failure.
Understand?
It has been a failure. And Bernie Moreno, who was recently elected senator, has said that he wants the Department of Justice to investigate this panel and for them to get rid of it altogether, because, you know, who needs citizen input in law enforcement, which makes no sense whatsoever. But the problem is that it doesn't have any teeth. Their work doesn't have any teeth. And if you're going to involve citizens in legislative work, in law enforcement work, their input has to have teeth. There has to be something where they can go in and say, I want these changes implemented, and the changes are implemented.
Well, that's exactly what the premise of giving citizens or my campaign for legislative authority is. What it would literally do is it would say that 51%, if this is a statewide initiative, 51% of our citizens say we need to attack something. We're going to present a bill to do that because 51% of our citizens have stated that this is what our taxpayer money, this is what we want to do. And then the only thing that we do, here's the nuanced part of the job, is to ensure that our district representatives understand how we're going to pay for this, how we're going to make this happen, and that our citizens are well informed as to how we do this. It's one thing to want it, but it's another thing so I can show you how we're going to make that happen. And so we all have a place to weigh in on that.
Okay. And I understand that. And I totally agree with you. In the state of Ohio, citizens have the power to get an amendment to the Constitution, to the state constitution, on the voting ballot. But what has happened is that you'll get the law on the ballot and you might get the law passed. We had the MJ law passed, the recreational MJ law. We had the AB protection passed. That's a constitutional amendment. But for MJ, rather, there's no, how do we spend the tax money? There's no outline of how the money is spent, how the laws are enforced in the different cities that don't want to have this. They don't want to have dispensaries. There's no outline for it. And so the legislature and the governor have to step in and say, well, this is how we think it should be implemented. And so they end up getting to implement it how they want it based on what their party's policies are versus how the people believe the law should be implemented.
Understand. I'm a lot more meticulous than that. So I'm definitely, when I do say that, I'm saying that how we pay for it, you're going to know before that legislation gets passed.
Okay.
Legislation will not get passed before that 51% of citizens understand how this is going to happen. So when we do run into individuals and they say, hey, you didn't do this the way you said you would, or something went awry.
Exactly.
What we're going to see from that is if something goes awry, I'm going to create a means for citizens to say, you didn't do it the way we said you were going to do it. Now you need to stop. And
you need to stop versus just doing, now I can do it however I want to do it. No, and that doesn't serve that doesn't serve the citizenry, because what we wanted is now not being carried out. It's being muddied with what the legislature and the governor wants, and you don't want that.
I do not want to continue to create an environment where the citizen can't be able to say, hey, even if the citizens make a mistake in what they want, if they were to vote against all of the House of Representatives, and the House of Representatives were like, no, this is a terrible idea, because House of Representatives and the governor, they all have their own independent vote. If the citizens were to say, no, I want to do this anyway. Yeah. One thing I want citizens to be able to do is to be able to correct their mistake. and to say, hey, this did not work like y'all said it would not work. You gave us the who, what, when, where, why, and how, and we still wanted this. It's not structured well. It didn't do as well as we thought it would. Let's take it back.
And I like that. I like that. I
So
think that's how it should be done. In Ohio, it's not done like that. It's like, okay, the citizens made a mistake. Oh, now the governor has to step in, and now the governor gets to do whatever he wants. And that's unfair. That's
I,
unfair.
so
So,
I do want to let citizens know that there's always going to be a place for representation. Always. It's because we're too many for one or two people to be able to monitor.
exactly.
So it is important to always have those representatives, but we need to be able to, as citizens, be able to say we made a mistake and be able to fix the mistake. This cannot be the only time you can fix it is 4 years from now when things have went bad. Because like right now, this is for everybody that's listening. Yesterday, the federal government told Florida, we never said we were going to give you that federal funding for Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Now we're like, well, wait a minute. The governor told us, he sold it to its citizens that you would pay for this. And we paid for $50 million worth of porta potties.
Yep.
So we can't roll $50 million worth of porta potties back because y'all are saying you're not going to pay for it.
Exactly.
Our citizens need to have the ability to say, hey, looks like we made a mistake. Looks like you put out the wrong information. And the federal government said he erred in the way he understood it. And, and I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. If that's what you're saying, well, now citizens should be able to say, hey, we found out that there was an error made. You guys are saying you're not going to help pay for this. And now we actually know that we're not going to even get partial payment back right now. And on top of that, you never even submitted for the payments in the first place. So there's just too much that's muddy. Let's just roll this back. Y'all shut this thing down and let's come at this in a better way or a different way. But
having no say in that is just absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen that way.
Across this nation, across Florida, no citizens have the right to say no. And they don't have the way to just say, hey, we recognize it was a mistake made. And we're not talking about the mistake of who we voted for. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how the legislation impacts the citizen.
Exactly.
You can stay in your job. We want you to do the job you're supposed to do. But if you make a mistake, if you get the numbers wrong, we need to be able to say, hey, let's not keep pushing forward and just throwing money into contracts that we don't know where it went. And it's just a really hard thing to deal with right at this moment because, of course, we don't have the power, the authority. And even if you went outside to protest, you're protesting to close doors with police that are not going to let you in. And even if you go inside, you're going to be removed because you're being disruptive, which is understandable.
And the other issue you have is convincing other citizens that their voice deserves to be heard in this manner. A lot of people are very comfortable with, okay, I voted for this person. That's all I have to do. I'm done. My job here is done. I don't have to do anything else.
And that's the main concern I have with all of this is you putting a lot of trust in the people that don't really care about what happens. To be brutally honest, here in Florida, we live here, bro. We know just in the Panhandle alone, they make their vote and then they don't even watch the news no more.
And you know what? I'm 42 years old. So for all of these years I've been born, when you don't have access, when you don't have a reason to be involved, the only time we ask for involvement is when it's time to vote the who in. It's not on the what's happening. So the what piece needs to be there, which will eventually, this is the goal, this is the dream, which will eventually change the mindset because now you're more integral in your system. And that's so huge to me.
And that's an issue I've had a lot with people is connecting them from just the person that they are, the citizen that they are, to a piece of legislation, showing how it affects their everyday life so that they can be convinced that they need to care about the laws passed after they're passed and while they're being voted on, just as much as they need to care about who is voting these laws to be passed. It's not enough just to care about the rep. It's enough. You have to care about their policies and what they're going to put forth and the bills that they write. And you have to see yourself in the legislation so you know that it does affect your everyday life. It
Absolutely.
does.
Just for everybody who is who's trying to come up, I don't know why TikTok is not allowing the invites to come through. They're coming through very slow. So when I hit the invite button, it's not bringing you up. And then I see a notification, it turns red, and then I'm able to do the invite. That looks like it's something that's happening with TikTok. So I don't want you to feel like you are being left out or I'm just not doing it. I'm hitting the invite for literally everyone I see.
But
So
you can drop me. That's all I wanted to say. And I think you're doing a good job. I think you're doing a good job.
yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Bernard, you still there?
Yes, sir.
How do you what would you say to these citizens in relation to giving them, because I do ask individuals to ask their representatives, what are you gonna do to empower me to help you and resist you?
Well, the main thing is making sure that you are connected with the people and make sure you're connected with your citizens. It can't be you get elected and then you just go into whatever legislative body, whether that be local, state, or federal, and never engage or inform the people of what's going on. You can't get into office and relocate and just forget about the people that put you in office. The whole goal of getting in office is to represent the people. So there should be uh, if not weekly, absolutely monthly meetings with all your constituents to let them know what's going on, to let them know what legislation is up on the table, to get their input on it, to see how they feeling about it, to do all the things that you're saying that should be done. There should be people in office that are already doing that without having to have any type of legislation to force them to do that. But we know we live in the real world, and right now, the real world, there's too many people that want too much money and power to ever relinquish that power, especially in the formal way of legislation or a law. So to again, like I say, just living here to try to force these people to give up this power and this control that they've had all my life, and definitely since 1995 since they've been in charge here. That is a I ain't like I said that is an uphill that's ice skating uphill, as my man Blade would say.
I do agree. It is for me. It's really good to, if you're still sending your invites, please keep sending them. It's really good to hear that other states have found exactly what I'm saying to be a problem, which is that citizens are trying to say, "Hey, we're missing this link of being able to reach our representatives." And even though we put in panels and small, or you give us something small, the legislative link is not helping us push forward this information or be able to get things done that need to be done. So this isn't just while I'm focused on Florida, this isn't just a Florida problem. This is a nationwide issue that citizens are saying, we're screaming. So we know our voices are out there. But as far as the legislation goes, you guys aren't hearing it. You're not, and this reason again is because if you just vote for the person and you don't vote for their policy, then you're not going to understand that they're not changing the rules that work for the citizen. So it is very important to get the person that's going to change the rules in your favor as citizens. I couldn't tell you why it dropped. I really don't understand. It doesn't even let me request you back up. So I don't know. But it is super important to know that when I go out to these town halls, when I do meet you in the street, when I'm asking you these questions, that you do take out the opportunity to ask yourselves if indeed you want to have a little more legislative authority, Firecat03. I just hit the invite button. I do not know what's going on with TikTok this evening, but if it lets you up, by all means, come on in. But until then, looking at the comments, looking at what we're seeing people say, I just had a supporter that's going to be reaching back out to me again on Monday, so I can do a town hall out in Charlotte County. So I am getting out to citizens just to make sure. One of the main reasons is to make sure that you know that I'm a real person and that this isn't some AI generated thing. And again, it is to get you to come out, actually meet with your candidate, and understand that, hey, this is the way ahead. I believe that we need to continue to allow our Constitution to evolve. It must evolve. It is not meant to be a stagnated document. That's why we allow amendments. Matter of fact, Florida's Constitution, we've amended 144 times since its inception. So we can definitely throw in an amendment for citizens. And there needs to be more laws that are citizen driven, citizen understood. You need to have a means of tasking your representative. How are we going to do that? I'm glad you asked. The idea is this. There's a metric that says that if you get 30% of a voter base to agree with something, that you're more than likely going to get 50% to take it over the top. So when 30% of you in your district say, hey, we need to look at how our schools are presented. We need to look at what's going on. We need to look at not changing our curriculum in our schools. That's going to push your representative at the 30% marker to start creating legislation. We need to be able to create. We need to be able to task those who ask us for the job. So when you want something from your governor, you need to be able to have a means of access, something that we can get to. Right now, like I said, we have 23 million estimated citizens in the state of Florida. That means that we needed to use technology to ensure that if 30% of our citizens said that there was a problem, and I would just use something real. Hey, we have a rent problem. We have an insurance problem. This will prompt the system to now let me know that I should be also telling your representatives, let's get this legislation on the books, or I'm going to create an executive order that says this is what the citizens are looking for. So you can work with your citizens to create that legislation, or you can have the executive order. Either way, we've been tasked to move on behalf of our citizens. And I suggest we get on it. That's the type of environment that I want to be a part of. I don't want to sit up at a desk and assume that individuals think that I can think for 23 million people. I want to know, we want to take your collective thoughts, use technology to bring them together and say, this is what citizens have been asking for. Garrick and Michelle, I'm definitely hitting the invite button. As soon as it slides through and let you in, by all means, come on up. But these are the goals. How did I come to this conclusion? I retired from the Navy 22 years, came into the civilian sector, and the first thing I noticed was that, hey, I was far removed from a lot of understanding of civilians. And when I saw civilians protesting and asking these questions, because honestly, when you're out to sea, they turn a lot of stuff off. So when I saw civilians protesting, but the legislation wasn't backing what they were asking for, immediately said, what's the root cause solution? Here's a problem. What's the root cause solution? Root cause solution was very simple. Give citizens more access. Then they don't have to protest. They don't have to boycott, because now they have access to their tax-paying money that's making this economy flow. Next thing I knew, I said, well, we're missing legislation. So I said, that's how I came up with my slogan, legislative authority for citizens. That's how that evolved, just that fast. So the next thing I asked myself is, hey, what can I do? What can I do to not just be someone that's just talking? Oh, you can fill out this document. Which job is going to put me in the best position to help make this happen. That's how I chose to be, or came to want to be governor of Florida. Just like that. I didn't pick any other seat. It was understand a problem, come up with a solution, and come up with the most efficient means to help create that solution. That's it. That's how I got there. So I really appreciate every single person that took out the time to understand the platform. I do not know what's going on with TikTok tonight. We're not letting you guys come up and be able to say what you need to say or add in, because I really do need to know. I need to know what your dislikes are. I'm still hitting the invite button. I need to know what your dislikes are. I need to know what your likes are. I do put together a PowerPoint. I did take notes. I'm very meticulous about making sure that things go healthy. Thanks for letting me know it's a ton of glitches going on. I do want to have more interaction. Again, if you go to my bio, you'll find the means to support by way of a petition. You take the petition to your supervisor of elections office. On my bio, you will see not only the petition, but when you scroll down, you're also going to see every address to your supervisor of elections office that's there. Do I know about the state harassing autism parents to put kids in voluntary therapy camps? I have not read I get my news from Orlando Sentinel and quite a few places. I have not read about these voluntary therapy camps. I will definitely look into that, because that is wild. I do know that there is no current legislation, and I definitely read legislation. So I haven't seen legislation that would make me lead towards looking for that, but I'll look it up. This is definitely CPS is harassing parents and calling CPS. All right, I'll definitely look into it. But just like all citizens, this is super important. When we see things that we know are not okay, when we know it's not okay, and we're all, for the majority, in agreement that things are not okay, I want to make sure that we're positioned in a place to do something about it. So it's super important to me to position all of us in a place where we can do something about the things that we see are not okay. I would love for you to be able to take the information you just did and get in your district and tell people about it, and it sends out a notification to them that says, hey, we found out that there is a problem with people harassing children for autism, trying to get them into a camp. When citizens see that, because of the technology that I want to put forward, when citizens see that happen, they're going to be able to, just like here, they're going to be able to like or add to that. Once we reach that 30% number of a district saying we have a problem, that's going to prompt your district to immediately start creating legislation to deal with the issue. That's how powerful legislative authority is. And I believe that's the way democracy was supposed to be used, quite personally. Everybody who's asking to join something is going on with TikTok, so it is not allowing the invites to come up. I do appreciate everybody coming by. I will announce another one and figure out if it's something on my end that's happening, although I don't think so. But I did hear from looks like Miss Sam Dog that TikTok is having a couple of glitches. So I do thank everybody for coming out, and please look forward to me doing another one of these. Like I said, next Saturday I'll be in person in Charlotte County. So if you're out there and you receive one of my 5,000 text messages to come out to that location, which you will be able to find on my website, love to see you there. You guys have a great evening.